Okay, August is American Adventure Month, and you say canned foods can be heavy or bulky, and buying processed foods can be expensive. So why don't we talk about jerky?
Let's talk about jerky. Jerky's been used for hundreds, probably thousands of years. Maybe more than that. Jerky is basically just dried meat, but usually it's brined first, which is some type of saltwater solution. It's often flavored or marinated, perhaps a dry rub for spice, whatever. And then it's dried, and you can either dry it in the sun, you can dry it by the wind, you can dry it in the oven, whatever you have. You can also smoke it. You want to use a very low temperature to make sure that it's evenly dried throughout, so you don't have a squishy center and a tough outside, because then the center is going to get kind of gross. Eventually it's not going to keep as long. You want to go with very lean meat. If you're going to brine it or marinate it or whatever, you probably want to rinse it and pat it dry before you lay it in the sun to dry, or lay it outside or whatever. If you're going to do it in the oven, it's not as crucial to rinse it. Except if you're just doing a very salty brine, then you'll want to rinse it just to rid some of the salt flavor, because you don't want it too salty, because then when you're eating it on the trail, you're going to get salt overload. It will keep for a very long time, but it is very lean. You're going to use lean meat on purpose because it'll keep the longest. But if you're out on the trail, if you're out camping, whatever, you don't want strictly lean meat. So that's where we come into some of our other recipes.
So the first one is Miles Moose Jerky.
Yes, Miles is a good friend of my dad's, and my dad still lives in Alaska, and I had them get this recipe to me. It's really good. We had it some years ago when we were up there. It's your basic. Well, it's a marinade. It's a mixture of like soy sauce and Worcestershire and some spices. And he uses moose because that's what he has. That's what I grew up on. Obviously, if you don't have moose readily available to you, you can use beef. You could use fish. You can do fish jerky. Anything like that. This recipe specifically is really good. I've had it before. It's done in the oven. It's safe to do. You don't have to worry about critters landing on your meat if you're drying it outside. It's mighty tasty. So thank you, Miles.
What is pemican?
Pemican is it's a very old form of a power bar. The Native Americans used to take it with them on their hunting expeditions. And they would, it would keep them alive. It would give them the energy they need. Like I said, you need something that has a bit of fat in it instead of just the lean meat, because you need that energy. The protein is good for you, and it's going to help rebuild the muscle. It'll keep you alive for a certain amount of time, but it's not going to give you that much energy as the fat will. So what they would do is they would dry their meat. They'd make their own special native jerky, and then they'd pulverize it like on a rock or something like that. Today, obviously, we use like a food processor or blender. You don't have to use a rock. And then mix it with melted fat. Now, the fat you use is a little more specific. Most of the recipes I found said to use suet, which is a type of fat found around the kidneys and the organs of cattle. Venison, whatever, different hooved animals, and that's the best, the cleanest, the most pure form. And then you're going to render that out and then pour it into your meat mixture and mix it up. Some tribes would use different types of berries, cranberries, blueberries, whatever, in with it to add sweetness and also for the vitamin content, help prevent scurvy. And they could do it into cakes or bars and take it with them. You could either eat it straight out of hand or add it to a stew or soup, and there you have it.
And tell me about the granola.
This is actually a really good recipe for granola. It's a mixture. You can change it up a bit if you'd like, but keep to roughly the same proportions. You're going to use a little bit of oil, a little honey, a little maple syrup, some dark brown sugar. Rolled oats are important to use instead of like instant oatmeal or quick cooking oats, because they have more texture and it's the whole grain. It's just really good for you as well. You can use wheat germ like I suggest. You could use a mixture of wheat bran or any other serious grains that you'd like. You're going to mix everything up, toast it for about an hour and a half, depending, just to get that even color, and then mix it with a mixture of different berries and raisins, whatever you'd like. But it is a really good recipe, and you can use it as cereal. You can press it into bars and use it like that, and it's mighty tasty.
Sounds delicious.
It is.